Welcome to Manifest This, Believer versus Skeptic. I'm Sharon, your resident skeptic who asks all the tough questions. And with me is Jennifer Neal, our manifesting maestro. Whether you're rolling your eyes or raising your vibration, we dive into all things manifestation, mindset, and energy from every side. Hit subscribe, settle in, and get ready for spirited debates, surprising experiments, and laughter on the journey to creating a life you love. Welcome to Manifest This, Believer versus Skeptic. Today we're responding to a listener who was interested in one of Jennifer's Manifex RX TikToks on her social media. And I'd recommend anybody who's interested in what we're talking about to go over and look for Manifestation RX. It's letter R and the letter X. And get a look at what Jennifer posts on a pretty regular basis. But based on this inquiry in her DMs, we thought it might be interesting to do a podcast on why Pinterest might be your secret manifestation tool. Because, quite frankly, I think, Jennifer, you talk about this a lot. You seem to really like Pinterest as a tool. And I know that when we were doing our vision boards, you were encouraging us to do that. And for anyone who's interested in vision boards, we do have a podcast on that. So take a look and give it a listen. Jen, what do you think?
Yeah. In fact, I'd love to know from our listeners if this is something that strikes you or that you're interested in. Please let us know in the comments because we'll run a workshop on this. I feel so strongly about Pinterest. Well, I feel strongly about visuals, representations of dreams anyway. I have a vision board in front of me. I just did another one, but Pinterest is like, it's the gold, guys. So I have a manifestation story for you that honestly, I still even I still shake my head at it a little bit, and when I think about it again, I kind of forget how powerful it is myself, and today I went back in and loaded it with some more dreams. So, I wanna talk to you about that today.
Okay, that's perfect. These are my favorite kinds because obviously I get to be the designated skeptic for the people driving in their cars right now going, "Uh oh, here we go again."
I'd love to do a workshop on this. I feel so passionately about it, and I think people would just love this. Okay, so we're going to talk about my wedding dress. And I'm going to tell you the story of my wedding dress because it is a manifestation story that I will never forget. This dress that I had pinned, when I say pinned, we're using Pinterest, right? So I had pinned, which means I had identified a photo and saved it, okay, in
Okay.
my Pinterest account. We can go into that in more detail. Just stick with me. So I had a dress that I'd identified about 3 years ago because I knew I was going to get married someday
Right.
to this beautiful man that I'd been dating, Darwin. And this dress had been just, I kept zeroing in on this dress, but I didn't have an engagement ring and I didn't have a date in mind. I just had this dress on my board. La la la, life goes on. When I got engaged 2 weeks ago, I was like, oh my gosh, that dress. I have to have that dress. So I actually started diving into that dress. Well, guess what? It's been out of production since 2007.
Okay, this already sounds like it's a big problem.
Okay. They don't make this dress anymore, but I am dying to have this dress. Okay. It's discontinued. It's out of production. It's not on a line anymore. It's gone. It's finished. It's done. It's dead. It's buried. It's gone. So, but I became so obsessed with this dress on Pinterest. And I don't mean casually interested. And guys, there is a secret in what I'm talking about here. This obsession, this uh, Napoleon Hill calls it a burning desire. I had a burning desire for this dress. I mean, zooming in on the details, saving every image I could find of every bride that ever wore this dress, searching the variations, how they'd had them modified, how they'd had it altered, looking at the neckline. It's a plunging neckline, by the way, down to the belly button. At 57, I'm thinking, I don't know if I can get away with that. So I was looking at variations of how to stitch up that neckline, the fabric, the shape, the feeling of it, the little train on the back. I kept clicking on that image in Pinterest over and over and over again.
Okay.
Are you tracking? Are you tracking with me?
Okay, but to be fair, you sound like a marketing tech dream because That's also how algorithms work.
Ding, ding, ding. Ding, 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 ding. Yes, this is exactly why we have to be using Pinterest, okay? So, and this is where manifestation and real life overlap way more than people realize. Because Pinterest keeps serving me more versions of the dress because of the algorithm, more angles. Every time I opened up Pinterest, Sharon, if I opened it up right now and shared my screen with you and all of our listeners, you would see probably not one, but three on the homepage versions of that dress. And I'm not going to show you because I'm not going to show you my dress yet. But you Pinterest keeps serving me the version of the dress with more angles and similar dresses to look at and more designers and more ideas. But I didn't want other designers. I wanted this one, which happens to be an ASOS design. I didn't even know they existed. They're from the UK. Obsessed with this dress. And suddenly, I'm not just hoping for this dress anymore. My brain is starting to organize around it.
Okay, well, now that I understand, because if you immerse yourself in something constantly, you're naturally going to start noticing the opportunities that are connected to it.
Well, even if you don't go quite that far, because opportunities that are connected start to sound like manifesting language. But even if you're not into this world, if you go immerse yourself in Italy
Easy.
and you sit, right? Not you. But if you go and sit down in Italy and you don't know the language and you hang out long enough, you will start to speak the language. You will start to understand some phrases, some sentences, what's that saying? Some things of speech. Anyway, you know what I'm saying? You will start to understand the language. Okay?
If nothing else, you understand at least gelato and pizza and vino.
Exactly. You pick up on a few things. People think that manifestation is just sitting there lighting candles, drinking moon water, putting codes under your glass of water, the 369 method. And listen, I love a candle as much as the next girl, and I used to do that stuff too. But what is actually happening with my wedding dress, I held the image long enough and often enough, every day, multiple times a day. I was obsessed with it. Burning desire, burning desire. My brain stopped treating it like a fantasy.
Mm.
Don't forget, this dress is out of production. And my brain started treating it like a problem to solve.
Okay, so that's actually interesting because many people don't stay focused on something long enough for their brain to work on it consistently. So, they want something on Monday and then they give up on Wednesday and then they change their mind on a Friday.
Exactly. And your brain is a problem solver. It wants to give you what you want. It will help you solve the problem if you let it, but you have to stay sustained. Okay.
Okay.
So Pinterest acts like that visual reinforcement machine that you're unable to do without it.
Okay.
And listen, you've all got a phone. Everybody's got a phone, and Pinterest is free. So there's no excuses here not to give this a shot. So back to the dress. Every time I searched it, I clicked it, I pinned it. I was actually telling both the algorithm and my subconscious that this matters. And then the ideas started to appear. Dresses don't drop out of the sky, guys. The thing comes forward to you by way of ideas.
True.
9 times out of 10, the money doesn't drop in your lap. It comes to you by way of an idea. So the ideas started to appear. The minute I became obsessed with this dress, I remembered I had a friend that owned a bridal store in Toronto.
Right.
This led me to her. I called her up. I said, her name is Jennifer. I said, Jennifer, can you get me this dress? She says, no, it's out of production. Then she says, but here is the name of the seamstress that does all of our alterations. Why don't you call her and see if she can make it for you?
Right.
Okay.
That
I'm
makes
getting closer to that dress now. Makes sense, right?
Yep.
So I call up the seamstress and I say, can you make me this dress? And I sent her a picture. And she said, I can make you the dress, Jennifer, but it's going to cost you thousands of dollars. Here's what I suggest. Ding, ding, ding. Here comes another idea. Go see if you can find that dress used, too big, and I will fit it to you like a glove. Now, remember, this dress has been out of production for almost 20 years, folks,
Which basically in the bridal world and any fashion world is ancient civilization.
right? So this dress is out of production. She says, go see if you can find one. Now, we all know about the Poshmarks of the world now and all of the vintage that have gone.
Yep.
Vintage is a big deal, right?
Yeah.
So this isn't actually something that seems so foreign to me. So I started searching for exact larger sizes, like a size 16 in the dress with the name. I start really going for the larger sizes instead of trying to find one that fits me. I start going for the larger sizes. And then suddenly one pops up on Poshmark, as it just happens to be. And as I start digging, when I first message her and say, "Is this dress available?" She says, "It is, and I'll take another $50 off." Ding, ding, ding. I'm like, okay. But of course, I thought, being in Canada, they would not ship this dress to Canada. I was almost convinced. Guess where the seller was?
Let me know.
Ontario, Canada.
Wow.
It arrived
In your
3 days
backyard.
later. Yeah, it arrived 3 days later. I was in Florida when I purchased it, and it was sitting on my front doorstep when I got back to Toronto.
Wow, okay. So that part is kind of weirdly specific to me, I've got to admit that.
Right? But there's a secret in there. This is the part where people go, see, manifestation. But honestly, I think it's both energetic and practical. So you'll love this, Sharon. Skeptical Sharon. What really happened was, and this again is why Pinterest can be so valuable. I got crystal clear. I knew the size, I knew the name, I knew the designer, I knew it. I knew it exactly. The universe loves specificity, people. So I got crystal clear. I got emotionally connected to that vision. It became a burning desire. Ask. You notice the steps I'm going through? Ask. I want the dress. Believe. I got crystal clear. I repeatedly, number three, I exposed myself to it over and over and over again. I got a burning desire for this thing. My brain starts getting into gear. It starts filtering for solutions. It wants to problem solve. Opportunities start to become more visible to me. Literally, I can see them with my eyes on this screen. They start popping up, just like the algorithm promises. And I kept following. I would go deeper into the rabbit hole and deeper into and click it in, click in, click in, click in, click in, click in. I got deeper and deeper and deeper into this dress. That combination right there, that is the power.
So, okay, what I'm basically hearing you say is that Pinterest works because it's forcing you to be really specific. Those images come up, that content comes up, and it forces you to look at it, to click on it, and then it pushes you into additional rabbit hole exploration of the very thing that you want.
Yes, but I will give a little warning, a buyer's beware. You can still be vague in Pinterest,
Okay,
right? You can search wedding dresses and have a whole host of them come up. Where the magic is, you start to say, "Yeah, I don't want long sleeves. I want strapless." Like it allows you to start to hone in on specificity,
right.
right? But you can still say vague, but most people are too vague, and that's why nothing happens.
Got it.
Okay? If you go to a restaurant and you say, "Bring me food," they will bring you food. But
Right.
most waitresses or waiters, servers, I guess I should say today, most servers will ask you, "Can you be a little more specific? Do you want the Caesar salad or the tossed salad? Do you want the ranch dressing or the Caesar dressing?" So the fear is, the mistake is you do stay too vague. I want more money, I want a better life, I want love. Okay. But what does that really look like? And what I love about Pinterest is it forces you, or it gives you the opportunity to refine,
Right.
to zoom in, to notice, to decide. And I think that's why it can become such a powerful manifestation tool. Not so much because the app itself is magic, because it's not, but because the focused attention that you can get to using it, that is magic.
So that's actually a really important distinction because even from a skeptical perspective, if you spend enough time interacting with one clear vision, your behavior naturally starts to align with it. So you search differently, you notice differently, you might ask different questions. I mean, I think, even when you're looking for the perfect haircut, you don't look at every haircut out there. You're very specific about the haircut you want so that you could show it to your stylist and say, "This is what I'm looking for," because you've refined it so tightly for them, not just give me any old cut you want.
Exactly. Like it's so powerful. I get giddy about it. But yes, you're right. Like, I'll get off my little giddy horse. Your nervous system starts getting familiar with the thing. Like, remember, when we were talking about money in the last podcast, go check it out if you missed that podcast. We were talking about why things are easier to manifest than money. It's because you're unfamiliar with it. You're unfamiliar with what that money you're asking for can give you. You're unfamiliar with the lifestyle that money can afford you. So your nervous system starts getting familiar with the thing because it keeps coming up and it keeps coming up. And once something becomes familiar and it stops feeling impossible, that is huge because manifestation isn't always poof, the universe delivered to me. Sometimes it is, I finally became available to see the path.
Okay, hang on a second, because that actually sounds good. Sometimes you finally become available to see the path. Okay, everybody needs to write that down because that's
Yeah,
resonating with me. I'm going to say it one more time. Sometimes you finally become available to see the path.
exactly. So if you think about my wedding dress just for 2 seconds, when I started, it was impossible. But the deeper I went into that dress search, it started to become possible. And then the ideas started to come in my own brain about how I could make it possible. So there is action involved, right?
Right.
But seriously, I think people should use Pinterest intentionally. And again, having intention matters in the manifestation world. So not doom scrolling, not random saving. Use it like a manifestation lab. Search for the thing, refine the thing, save what feels exact, even if it doesn't. Just start there and then delete what doesn't as you go along
Okay.
and start to train your eye and train your nervous system because eventually your brain will start to solve this problem and solve the image that you keep feeding it.
So, what occurs to me is, this actually probably explains why people who obsess over their problems also keep finding more problems.
Hello. But you don't want to say it to these people. Like, I wish I could give every warrior the Pinterest app and say, spend 5 minutes in here for me, please. First of all, the worry they'll forget about the worry because I've now distracted them. I mean, okay, maybe there's something here. All warriors. Hello, all warriors, please download the Pinterest app. Like, I'm telling you, Pinterest works for fear too. But that's a good point, actually. I know I'm all over the place right now, but Pinterest actually does work for fear. So, whatever image you repeatedly feed your mind, your life starts organizing around. Think of the news, the nightly news, the 5 o'clock news, the 6 o'clock news, whatever image you repeatedly feed your mind, your life starts organizing around. And I think that's why clarity is so powerful because vague energy creates vague movement, but specific vision that changes things.
Well, that's fascinating. I hope we've answered our listeners' question. By the way, this podcast is not sponsored by Pinterest. In fact, we're not
But it could be,
sponsored.
but it could be
In fact, we're not sponsored by anyone. And if you'd like to sponsor this podcast, we'd be more than happy to have a conversation with you. So,
1,000%.
once again, Jen, thanks for that interesting conversation around Pinterest, which is Pinteresting. Haha. A little pun, if you will.
Uh-huh.
Always a pleasure to chat with you.
But I just want to add to the end of this again, listeners, if you are interested in a workshop about how to use Pinterest to have, be, and do everything you want in your life, please drop a comment below. We'll throw it together for you and it will be free.
And I'll end with this. Thanks, everybody, for listening. This is Manifest This, Believer versus Skeptic. And once again, thanks, Jennifer, for all of your insights. Talk to everybody soon. Bye.
Bye for now.
Thanks for tuning in to Manifest This, Believer versus Skeptic. If you enjoyed today's conversation, share it with a friend, believer or skeptic. And don't forget to leave us a review so others can join in the debate. Plus, check out Jennifer's TikTok account, Manifestation RX, where she writes daily prescriptions for manifesting your dreams. Think practical tips with a dash of magic. We love hearing your questions and stories, so tell us what you're manifesting or questioning this week. Until next time, keep an open mind and maybe manifest a little magic.